One, two, three, the long feed.
Welcome to another episode of the Lawn Feed. I am Ope, your host tonight from Opus Mo Time, and as with me, as always, is Andrew with the Dad Bod Lawn and Vince with Rooted Lawn Co. What's up, you guys?
Howdy.
It's good to see everyone again. I feel like it's been a while since we've had all three of us here.
It has been a while.
It's been a busy summer.
It's been a busy summer. We're out and about doing our things, which is good. So happy what feels like, it probably doesn't feel like fall quite yet, but happy fall for us like lawn people. It's like getting into fall and winding down to the end of the season. So thank you again for tuning into another great episode where if you've been tuning along to the previous episodes, we've been talking a lot about lawn renovations, and we are going to be focused on this one with full lawn renovations. So we've covered partial, we've kind of given a high level recap or intro to full lawn renovations. Now we're going to go in depth with full lawn renovations so you can get started and plan for your renovations. So be sure to check out our website after this episode for premium tees and other apparel. It's guaranteed to make your lawn renovations go easier wherever you're at. And it happens in less time.
You still need ibuprofen, though.
Still need ibuprofen. And also read the fine print on that. But you'll look good doing it. That's a guarantee.
That's all that matters.
No fine print for that one.
You'll sweat right through it.
Yeah. Breathing and moisture wicking. But before we get into all of the lawn renovation talk, we have a very special guest with us. We have Roger from Spyker Spreaders. Roger, welcome to the show. And thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Nice to see you guys.
Of course.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. And, I think from our perspective, this is the first time you've been on there. So who are you? What do you do for Spyker? And we've got some questions to ask you, and we'll just get right into the business.
Yeah, so I'm Roger Beams, and I'm with Spyker Spreaders. I look after the Spyker brand for Brittany Hardy Company, and looking forward to talking through some full renovations with you guys this evening.
Awesome. Roger, we're looking forward to learning a little bit more about what you just kind of went into as the show goes on. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, we always do a segment called Dad's Wins and Losses with whoever we have on. And it's really just a portion of our episode where we can get down and dirty and talk about fatherhood and parenthood and the daily wins and losses that we take as parents every single day. So this portion of the episode is brought to you by Forefathers, a polo company that's elevating dad apparel for the DIY dad and the home of that OG turf dad polo. And as a reminder, you can get 20% off your entire order with promo code TheLawnFeed at shopforefathers.com. So check that out, hit up that promo code and get some savings and look good doing it. But Roger, one win, one loss. Floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so one win. I mean, I have the best daughter in the world, first of all. She's a really good student. She's a junior in college, so I'm just really proud of her and all of what she does. She's a manager on the lacrosse team at her university, Bellarmine University. So shout out to that lacrosse team over there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then the losses. So she does stay on campus, even though it's in the same city that we're in. So she's only about 3.5 miles away. But I guess the losses, I don't get to hang out with her as much, on the weekend or in the evenings when she's in school, which has just started back, a couple of weeks back. So, yeah.
One, that's a huge dad W. You survived the stages that we're all in, the infancy.
Well, you can see, there's not much left on top.
That's why we wear hats, Roger.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. When I got married, I had a full head of hair,
So did we.
I'll make it up for it,
Yeah. So, Roger, we know that you're with Spyker Spreaders. We know that Spyker holds a high reputation and they have a lot of different spreaders, drop spreaders, and other tools. But those who have been living under a rock and don't know who Spyker Spreaders is, can you tell them a little bit more about the company?
Sure. So we were the original spreader company. We're over 150 years of age. So we kind of started out with the first bag spreader was invented up in northern Indiana. So it was the first broadcast spreader that somebody was using, Mr. Spyker, in fact. So yeah, we've been in the business for a long time. We obviously don't make the same spreaders that we made that long ago. We may have recreated some of that technology in newer versions because it's still proven technology. But really, like you say, lots of different types of spreaders. That's what we focus on. So whether it's a broadcast spreader or a drop spreader, those are the kind of things. And then we've also got electrics and ride-on machines as well. So, Spyker Spreaders has been around, like I say, a long time, but we are used primarily by landscapers, golf courses and sports turf all around the world. So not just in our 50 states. So we do have followers all over the world, wherever grass grows, wherever people play golf or any kind of ball sports. So yeah, those are some of our products. We've also added recently rollers, so turf rollers, especially for sports turf applications, or even just leveling out your own yard, or different applications where maybe you've got frost heaves in the north and that kind of thing. And then also some drop-in sprayers, because lots of the chemicals or the fertilizers are going to more liquid form. So what we have now is we have some drop-in sprayer technology that we can put inside some of the machines that we've got to allow you to do that as well, and do some spot spraying and other treatments, whether it's a total kill for a renovation that we might be talking about here tonight. That works great for that. And then you can use your spreader for the same seed and application afterwards. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. Instead of carrying around a backpack sprayer full of nasty chemicals, you can put a drop-in sprayer into a spreader and take the weight off the back and push it around. Now those
drop-in spreaders, does it fit any model of walk behind, or is there a certain walk behind spreader that you need?
Yeah, so it fits specific units. It will fit in a lot of our spreaders, but it won't fit snugly in all of them. So some of the bigger spreaders, the 120-pound spreader hopper, is kind of primarily designed for that. There is another spreader on the market. It's an 80-pound spreader. It's pretty popular. It also fits in that hopper as well. So, but even on our Ergo Pros, you can fit that inside the hopper. You just have to kind of create some wedges. We're all pretty handy at home, I think, if we're doing this kind of work. So, you can come up with some 2x4 wedges and kind of hold that thing in there. It's not terrible. But yeah, it's, again, for a lot of our golf course professionals, they like to have that flexibility, so they don't have to take a big machine into an area and that kind of thing. But yeah, when we're talking about homeowners, that want to be able to use the same technology as a lot of PGA Pro, golf course managers, these are the kind of products that they're using every day when they're at work.
Nice. No, we already mentioned that Spyker makes like premium products.
Yes,
what is it that sets Spyker like above your standard spreader that you might see in the store or elsewhere online? Do they use special gears, special materials like stainless steel? What is it that makes these products so special?
For sure. We have a saying back at Spyker, which is, when you've tried the rest, go with the best, which is Spyker Spreaders. So, a lot of spreaders and a lot of spreader companies want to sell you a new spreader every couple of years. What we want to do is we want you to have a really great experience with our product. So we build it really well up front with our design engineers and all of our durability testing that we do in-house. So we build a really great product. The things that differentiate us, and I talk to a lot of people about these products all around the world. And so, the axles, especially if you look at the ones in the stores, they're going to be usually hollow axles. All of our axles are solid axles. They're stainless steel. So if you think about, the durability of this thing as it gets bumped and knocked around. Those are kind of the things that you want to be looking for. The wheels. So think about like a little plastic spreader you're going to get from the home improvement store that you're going to pay probably $29 for, and get a little bit of money off on a bag of fertilizer with it. It's not a fun experience. We've all done it. These spreaders that we've got are starting out with 10-inch wheels, usually 3 inches wide. And then we go up to, now we actually have our toe spreader. It's got a 16-inch wheel by 6 inches wide. But our push spreaders that are kind of in the middle of the road lineup are 13 inches by 4 inch, fully pneumatic tires. So the wheels, help with the roll and the feel of the spreader as you're moving it around. Again, if you've got a lumpy old yard when you've moved into your place and pushing around a little plastic wheel spreader, it's doing a lot of bouncing, but even with these Spyker spreaders in a yard like that, it just takes that in its paces. The other things that we do, really well is we overbuild the frames. I would encourage people to check out our website and look on there. We talk about the frames and the gusseting. Again, you're putting a lot of weight into these spreaders, and they're bouncing around, or you're knocking them over curbs or down driveways. Hanging them up on the wall and dropping them down on the floor. So they need to take a bit of a beating. And again, the idea is that these are being used by pros, every day that they need them for, hundreds of lawns a week. So, for a homeowner, these things are going to last, a lifetime. But the other things that we do, in terms of the accuracy. So if you think about, what we're doing, we're putting down chemicals onto our lawn to make it look pretty and grow more healthily. We want to make sure that we put down the right amount of chemicals in the right places. So, with our calibration system, it was a patented dial system that we had a long time ago. We have 95 settings of calibration. So you can really dial that thing in. And the Spyker dial is famous. It's found on a lot of different OEM machines out there. It is the gold standard for calibration in the industry. Really dial in your rate gate opening. We use a single opening versus like a 3-hole or something. That helps with reducing clogging and that kind of thing. But we also have what we call our AccuWay, which is a diffuser in the opening. And again, that was patented technology back in the day. And what that does is it actually adjusts your spread pattern direction. So you can make sure that thing spreads dead center. So depending on what you're spreading, the environment, lots of factors can play on that. So that AccuWay diffuser can help, reduce striping or, over application on one side or under application on the other. Because again, we want to put the weeds at bay and we want to feed the lawn. So all of those things working together, are all going to make sure that you only have to do this thing one time. It's a lot of effort to go out there and do that on a weekend, for a lot of homeowners. So, we want to make sure that time spent and the money spent is going to good use versus like a cheap little spreader that you buy at the store. You might save a bit of money up front, but, it's going to cost you in terms of your time, another weekend later because you've got bare spots or you've got, weeds growing, you've got striping, you've got dead areas now. Like it just becomes a battle that you're fighting. So we just take all that pain out of it for you.
You had just said something that I want to touch on because I think that many of our listeners have experienced this. I know we all have. Is this when you said striping? That's different than lawn stripes that we do with our mower, right?
Oh yeah,
not good stripes.
Different kind of stripes. These stripes are not good. When you go and do, you go and fertilize, and all of a sudden, a couple days later, you water this in, and all of a sudden, you've got lines in your yard that are darker than the other portions of your yard, right?
Yeah.
This is what he's talking about. And what causes that is putting too much fertilizer or too much of those chemicals, good or bad, that are oversaturating that particular area. And that's what causes those lines. There's a whole bunch of things that Roger just mentioned that Spyker basically goes above and beyond to ensure that does not happen. Some of these high-end spreaders that, you invest a little bit more money, that might not happen anymore, right? So that was a big wake up call when I was in my early years of doing this, of like, whoa, what is going on with those dark lines? That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, some of those cheaper spreaders will actually distribute the fertilizer into the wheel, and it collects and leaves like a thin stripe too, darker green stripe. So don't buy junk.
I
Yeah.
like when I see people fill in that tire, like that plastic wheel, with like that foam, and just to prevent it.
Right.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that? I'll have
No.
to find it and send it to you. It's pretty funny.
DIY.
Yeah. Hey, do what you can.
So, what materials? We're talking about fertilizer. We're talking about grass seed. What other materials can Spyker Spreaders spread?
Yeah, so those are the two main ones. But the other things that we can do, and again, depending on where you are in the country, you should check out, kind of your local seed and fertilizer store, and have a conversation with them as well about what they recommend for your zone. Whether it's you're in the north or you're in the transition or you're in the south. So definitely, check with them first. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm a mechanical engineer, not an agronomist. So, those are a little bit different. But we can spread ice melt with our spreaders. So certainly for, these spreaders that you use in the spring and the fall, maybe even in the summer with some bug control granules as well, you can use the spreaders for that too. Anything that kind of flows pretty well inside a hopper, you can kind of tell when you pour these things in there. Definitely can't do topsoil, right? I get that question a lot. We do have a spreader that's called a mulch and more, and it doesn't mean like mulch that you put in your flower beds, or bark mulch if you're up in the Northeast. It's really what we term pen mulch. It's like a treated pellet of seed that has good stuff kind of wrapped around it. It looks like a little furry ball. There's a couple of brands out there. There's Let's Go Mulch and Pen Mulch, two different brands of kind of seed starter material. So we can do pen mulch through a couple of our different spreaders that have a bigger opening, like the Mulch and More spreader that I mentioned.
What about sand?
We can definitely do sand. So for a couple of different reasons. So it could be top dressing. So if people want to, have a little practice green in their yard. I know a lot of folks like to do that. If you talk to your local golf course professional, a lot of what they do, especially in the South, where you got to put water down early in the morning and it gets hot in the day, to keep those roots moist and keep growing and being healthy through the day, they'll put sand down, kiln dried sand down. And that will actually help lock in that layer of moisture during the heat of the day. So, when you're running those rounds of golf, you see the kind of silvery sheen on those greens and tee boxes. That's the sand, the sharpness of the sand that you can see under the sunlight. And so we can spread sand with our spreaders. We do actually have a couple of top dressing kits for a couple of our units. But most of the spreaders, you can put sand through them. The biggest thing about, anything you spread is really cleaning your spreader afterwards. We can all get lazy, especially when we've been out pushing, 100 pounds or 50 pounds worth of material around a yard for 2 or 3 hours. We all get lazy. We want to get in the shower and get cleaned up and enjoy the rest of the day. But really spend that extra 5-10 minutes just to wash that thing down, dry it off with a towel, blow it off with an air hose, low pressure. Just baby that thing, and it will last. I mean, our gearboxes are all sealed housings. So if you're putting sand through there, there shouldn't be any sand getting down inside our gears, which, by the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but those are metal gears that we use in all of our spreaders. And 99% of them, we have lifetime warranty. There's only one model that we only have, 1 year commercial warranty, which for a homeowner is about 3 year, warranty. So again, metal gears, be on the lookout for that as well, because a lot of cheap imitations with plastic gears. Now, if you've got plastic gears and you're doing sand, you're going to have problems because those gears are going to get chewed up. So, but all of our housing around our gearbox and everything is all sealed. It's dovetail, tongue and groove type sealant faces. So nothing's getting down in there. But again, you've got to clean your spreaders when you're done. We can all be a bit lazy, like I say. and but just spend the extra few minutes just to wash that thing down. Sand as well for the
Absolutely.
winter. Up in the northeast, they put sand down, instead of salt or ice melt. I've seen that up in New England, places like that. So you can use that on your sidewalks and driveways for the same reason. So it's really a year-round investment when you buy one of these spreaders. It's not just a spring and fall kind of deal.
Got me on the ice melt. I'm going to try it this winter. It's gonna be
There
fun.
you go. Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
And we got some we got some really cool ones too. If you get a 50-pound Ergo Pro, we've got a full deflector that's a patented, in fact, it's patent pending design, which is fully variable, so you can adjust the spread width. Check it out online. It's our blue spreaders that you'll see on our website. But you can change the spread width from 12 foot wide open down to 3 foot straight down for a sidewalk. So you're not putting salt and ice melt out into your lawn or flower beds. You can really control it. So that's been a real hit with a lot of snow contractors out there too. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's clutch for sure. Okay, well, we've got a whole lot of that's just the tip of the iceberg of what you guys offer and what you guys are about. But you have something specific going on right now. So tell us a little bit about the promotion that's going on. Do you have any that people might get excited about? What is it, and then where can folks check you out and buy it?
Yeah, sure, that's good. So you can always check us out. We're active on all the social media channels, YouTube. Lots of stuff going on, usually at Spyker Spreaders or hashtag Spyker Spreaders. But if you go to our website, it's spyker.com, SPYKER, just like the shirt, .com. And you can go on there. And right now we have in our Spyker store, if you go into our shop on there, if you want to buy an Ergo Pro, which is, one of our really awesome 50-pound or 80-pound push spreaders that contractors use every day, we will reward you with your purchase of one of those or more with a free bag spreader. And the bag spreader, if you remember what we were saying at the beginning, kind of the origins of Spyker was a bag spreader in 1868, and so we just redid that product 2 years ago, and it's been a real hit. So if you've got tight areas, different things, again for winter use, you can use the bag spreader. So it's a nice added gift that we've got.
That's huge. That's huge. I just overseed my lawn with the bag spreader too. So speaking of full renovations, you got two tools right there that you can
There you go.
With.
That's it.
There we go.
Beats pushing a power seeder around,
Yeah, exactly. Well, Roger, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for hopping on the show with us. Yeah. We love your spreaders, and we're a big fan. Obviously, you guys are doing wonders in the industry, and I think a lot of DIYers looking to take that next step are finding you and loving it too. And we're hoping that more of our listeners will kind of step up and give it all, give you guys a try in one way or another. So we appreciate you, popping on and telling us about your story. If anyone is going down to GIE, we'll be there. But Spyker has a booth. Check them out and probably see us there too. Be honest. So
I'll be there.
on to full renovations. Roger, I appreciate you hopping on. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you, Roger.
Now onward to full renovations. Like I said earlier on our recent episodes, we talked about what goes into a renovation, both high level and then in detail on partial renovations. But here we're going to talk about full renovations. Andrew, what do we mean by full renovation? What do people need to know?
Yeah, so if you tune into our last episode, which I highly recommend you do for partial renovations and like overseeding, we talked about how you don't completely kill off your lawn for a partial renovation or an overseed. In this case, a full renovation means you need a clean slate. You need to start from bare dirt, essentially. So this is going to involve killing your lawn, assuming you have an existing lawn and it's not just like a new build, right? So what goes into killing your lawn? It's a multi-step process. And the first thing you got to do for any kind of renovation or anything you really do in your lawn is measure the square footage. Always need to know materials, how much room or how much space you're working with here. killing your lawn, spraying with glyphosate multiple times, which we will get to in a few minutes, and then scalping. And what scalping is basically you mow super, super low to the point where you're just like mowing down to the dirt, right? Something you don't want to do unless you're trying to kill your lawn, essentially, or if you have warm season Bermuda, which we're not talking about tonight. We're talking about cool season renovations here. Then after you scalp your lawn down, you're going to want to go in and dethatch your lawn and grade it by adding topsoil, and so that you get the grading of your lawn that you want, because what you put underneath the lawn is what you get. So do that now. Don't try to fix it later, because now's the time to do it. And then we're going to go on to the seeding process, which is where all, the magic happens essentially. And what is a good reason to kill off your lawn and do a full renovation? I mean, there's many reasons. You could say that you have an uneven or bumpy lawn. Maybe you just don't like the way it looks. And also killing it down all the way to the dirt gives you an opportunity to bring in more topsoil and fix all those ruts, all those low spots, and just make that lawn perfectly smooth. Like maybe you want to go from a rotary cut to a real cut and have that golf course lawn, something like Chris did last year. Go check out his channels and his renovation, essentially what he did. And Vince is about to do the same thing, I believe. So there's many reasons why you might want to do this process. It is a lot of work to take on, but if you follow these steps we're about to give you and talk about tonight, you should have good success.
Yeah. And I'll piggyback off that. You mentioned about killing the lawn. The best thing for cool season lawn is going to be your glyphosate. Basically, you're putting down an application over the whatever area that you want it to be killed. And if you read the label, usually it tells you to spray it, let it dry, and then you want to continue to water the lawn. Try and promote growth, allow the glyphosate to absorb into the plant, and then give it a week or two, and you can start your process of scalping it down. It will probably start to turn color by that point. Scalping means you're taking the mower as low as possible without putting the blade into the dirt, mowing it, bagging it, and then you can come back and take a look and assess the situation. A lot of times I like to do 2 rounds of glyphosate just to make sure I killed everything, especially if you had a lot of weeds in there. Some weeds actually won't die from glyphosate, so just know the weed that you're treating, and you might have to add a little something extra into the tank. But 2 rounds of glyphosate usually gets you pretty good. And then you can do another scalp if you'd like to. But the biggest thing after scalping is you want to dethatch. Dethatching, scarifying. Also, if you get a slit seeder and you run the slit seeder over it, you're now not only getting up the thatch, but you're actually getting into like 1/8 to 1/4 inch into the soil. So you're bringing up even more stuff, getting into the roots, and then you can come back, rake it up, and get rid of everything. And a little pro tip is while you're dethatching or you're running your slit seeder, run it backwards. It's more aggressive. You're going to get more up out of there, and it's just a better end result overall.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think from this point, you've got some options in terms of what you want to do. If you have a bumpy lawn, this is kind of the point to level it out, right? That would involve core aeration, putting topsoil in, and things of that nature. We won't dive a whole lot into that, but that's where we would basically insert that step in here. Especially if you have like compacted soil, that's something that's going to be really important to do, right? But ultimately, after that, you're going to be wanting to get your seed down. Now, at this point in the process, I would hope that you have done enough research to get your seed, because like Andrew said earlier, this is kind of the whole entire, this is where the magic happens, right? We put the groundwork in to go lay the foundation basically to put the seed down. And this is where you're effectively going to see all that magic happen and reap the benefits of it later on, because this is what you're doing it for. There's a ton of options out there. We've done a lot of research for you on the highest quality seed that you can possibly get, so you don't have to. But it's good to know your zone. It's good to, like we said, cool season transition or warm season. You've heard that been said a lot on this episode and on previous episodes. You want to understand your goals for your lawn. So what is going to fit in with your lifestyle, what kind of input you're going to want to put into it. Input meaning high maintenance, low input, high maintenance or low maintenance for fertilizing, water, mowing, just the overall maintenance that you're going to have to put into it. Different grass types are more input versus less input. It just kind of depends on really what you're feeling for your lawn and what matches your local environment, your yard, and your lifestyle and what's going to fit in with that. Twin City Seed is an awesome resource for this. If you want to go check out my guide, I've got that free guide out there. What grass is best for me? Guys, all of our recommendations. I believe they're running a 10% off sale right now, and then free shipping anywhere to basically get you guys set up for this overseeding season and renovation season. So that's all pretty cool. But you want to get your seed early on in the process, regardless of what you effectively choose.
And with the free shipping, they actually ship really quick. I always get my order
super quick.
Super
like
quick.
a couple days. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So before we have a chance to put that awesome seed from possibly Twin City Seeds into your renovation area, as Vince mentioned, we're going to try to get all that thatch up. And a lot of times that top layer of soil is still really tough. It's hard, and you kind of want to loosen that up. You want to break that stuff up. And as he mentioned, you can use a slit seeder in reverse to do that, but a lot of people are not going to be using slit seeders for this project probably. So something that you could do is use an aerator. Just like in our partial renovation episode that we just talked about, you talked about tearing up your lawn, just beating the crap out of it. Well, essentially, this is what you're going to do, but you're just going to do it on bare soil and kind of essentially almost till that top layer of soil. So just go over and over and over, breaking up that hard dirt that's on top. And once you bring that soil to the top and you kind of loosen it up, you can hit it with a leveling rake, or if you have a large lawn, like a tow behind drag from a company like Landsy. We had Landsy on a prior episode talking about a lot of equipment, which is mostly all renovation equipment. So if you are looking to get some equipment for renovations, pop back, listen to that episode. That's a good reference to talk about as well. So you got your drags, your rakes, and once you have it nice and leveled out and smooth, you want to grab a roller. So you can get a roller from a company like Spyker, like we just talked about. They make tow behinds, they make hand rollers, and you fill these things with water, get them nice and heavy, and you just roll it over your now nice level, loosened soil that you just made. And this is going to give you that awesome foundation for a seed bed, and also for a nice playing surface for your kids or your golf ball to roll on, whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and one last final step before you put that seed down, especially after you roll it. Sometimes you might roll it a little too heavy. Take like a metal tine rake, like a leaf rake, or just your general 36-inch landscape rake, and rake over it one more time. You could even set your dethatcher on a higher setting and run over it, but then it's going to make a little bit more work. But a nice leaf rake, even a plastic one, take it over there. You're going to just get a little bit more of a fluff, and gives it more of a bed for the seed to sit down. So once it's all smooth, you're happy with it, you put your seed down. Do north. I'm not going to mess up my directions this time. You go north and south, and then east to west. It just gives you a little bit more coverage. You know that you're not going to miss any spots and have uneven coverage. So get that down. Next, always, put down some preventative like mesotrione. You can use a Scott's fertilizer. They have mesotrione in it. Any big box store is going to have that. Or you can go to Site One. They have 50-pound bags of starter fertilizer with mesotrione in it. Or if you're a little bit more advanced and you've been following along, you have your backpack sprayer dialed in. Go ahead and grab yourself a bottle of the mesotrione, pour that in a backpack sprayer. You can even do liquid fertilizers with that and put that down at time of seeding. Some guys will put down hydrotane at time of seeding. They claim to have a quicker germination rate with that. I personally have tried it. I can't say yes or no to that. A lot of weather factors also play into that, but then also O2YS has been known to increase germination rates too, or just wear one of our lawn feed shirts and you'll increase your germination too. That's not guaranteed, but
that checks out.
Yep.
I really like how you say mesotrione too. It reminds me of mesotrione. Mesotrione, baby. Mesotrione. Mesotrione, baby. Yeah.
I
Anyways,
think you're thinking of a different song.
yeah.
Me so horny.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But you said like miso, and I'm like, I know that from somewhere. So
Yeah, mesotrione.
anyways, just had to give you a hard time about that. I appreciate it.
A
I think
hard
we all
time.
say it differently. There's tenacity. Let's just call it tenacity for the average person.
Tenacity.
Should get that
I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
A 10A city. Yes.
You just want to select the verbicide, and then you're good. However you pronounce it.
Jeez, this renovation season's getting to us, guys.
So yeah, that's obviously a ton of steps. The next and final step is to, like Vince said, you have your starter. If you choose to put a starter down, there's that. And then the last important step, seed needs water, right? You need water, and you got to be smart about your watering. You can't just water it once and hope that it germinates a day or two later. It's going to take a little bit of time. And the one piece that I always see people mess up on is not looking at the extended forecast when you have this elaborate plan before it, right? So you got to look at it. I'm saying this as we're about to go right down the barrel of 97 degree weather, hot, humid weather, and it's an abnormal heat wave. And I know people have thrown seed down. So there's going to be people who throw seed down and need to get over this like hump or something similar. And there's people who haven't seeded yet and need to wait or want to wait. It would be whom of them to wait until, after that. But if you're doing this normal conditions, keep the seed moist. We don't want to drown the seed, and we want to water enough where we don't want to water it too much where it drowns, and we don't want to water it too little where it dries out. What does that mean? That's going to be different for everybody, but most of the time, 4 to 5 times per day per zone for about 5 to 6 minutes should do the trick until germination, and then you can proceed with normal watering schedules from there. When you do or are experiencing this like hot, humid weather, if you put seed down or your schedule doesn't allow to avoid it, you just want to up the watering a little bit and just monitor your watering schedule even more so than you would normally. I won't get into fungicides or anything quite like that yet, but you might want to have a couple of those on tap, depending on what you plant and how hot and humid it does get. It's always good to have on hand, but it's a ton of information that we tried to condense down and make it really, really simple. It's a lot of work. Full renovation takes time. If this is not your cup of tea, remember that you always have that partial renovation to lean back on. It just kind of depends on what you want and what your goals are inside of your lawn and inside of your property. So let us know what questions you have. It can be a lot. We'll definitely do our best to answer them. If we don't know the answers, we will point you in the right direction. And we keep telling people this, and we've gotten a ton so far. Send us before and afters. This is so cool to see these pop off on social. Tag us. We'll definitely try to share those if we can see them. It is really cool to see people's before and afters and see all of the work put into these projects. So without further ado, you guys, best of luck from all of us, Andrew, Vince, and myself, on whatever project that you have upcoming. And we will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Mesotrione. Mesotrione, baby.
Ooh.
so child. Me so child, baby. Me so child.
Horny.
Me so child.